day. Thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Welcome to News at Noon. These are the top stories we're tracking. Exxon Partners sells interest in Libyan assets to focus on mega profits from Stabroek Block. Rystad Energy says Yellowtail subsea contract among top 10 global awards for the century. And absolute nonsense, President Ali tells greedy government contractors, announces new contractual obligations for engineers on site. Meanwhile, Motley tells CARICOM Energy Conference, enough talking, we need action now. DPP's operations continue despite fire. Patterson raises doubts over promises to reconstitute PPC and says PPP has returned to pre-2015 ways. Figueres says Bamia school contract fiasco highlights dire need for procurement commission, and police prosecutor requests more time in former GRDB accountant's fraud case. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Win big this Christmas with a Digicel Prime bundle. Over $20 million in prizes to be won. The more you chat, watch, share, and dance to your favorite Digicel apps, the more chances you have to win thousands of Share-to-Win prizes, including laptops, tablets, smartphones, cash, data, and credit. Enter to win the grand prize of $5,000 US, a trip for two, or a Samsung Galaxy S21. We are all winners with guaranteed win days. Play along, buy a Prime bundle in My Digicel to stream and win today with Digicel this Christmas.
And now for the news in detail. International media reports have revealed that Hess Corporation intends to shed more global assets to focus on the mega profits to be had from its 30% stake in the oil-rich Stabroek Block. Specifically, Argus Media noted that Total Energies and ConocoPhillips will purchase Hess' 8.16% stake in Libya's Waha oil concessions in the Sirte Basin and invest to improve production. This was confirmed with Total Energies CEO Patrick Pouyanné. The Waha acquisition by Total Energies and ConocoPhillips, which already holds stakes of 16.33% each, was approved by Libya's interim government. It was further noted that Total Energies plans to spend $2 billion on the Waha project to raise production currently at 300,000 barrels of oil per day by 100,000 barrels of oil per day. In March, we reported that Hess had sold a key asset in Denmark to focus on its lucrative Guyana projects.
French-American multinational Technip FMC recently landed a multi-million-dollar contract to supply the subsea equipment for ExxonMobil's fourth project in the Stabroek Block at the Yellowtail development area. Based on its analysis of this contract alongside its record of others in the industry over the years, Rystad Energy recently noted that it ranks among the top 10 global awards for the century. Rystad noted that the scope of works for the subsea contract includes as much as 51 enhanced vertical deepwater trees and 12 manifolds, together with associated controls and tie-in equipment. The international consultancy group reminded that Technip FMC defines the Yellowtail contract as large, meaning that it is worth between $500 million US and $1 billion US. Rystad was keen to note that the latest subsea job is set to eclipse work on previous Stabroek phases, which include the Liza Phase 1, Liza Phase 2, and the Payara projects.
And now let's tell you several of the large-scale contractors operating in Guyana were on Monday hauled before the proverbial hot coals by President Ali over a plethora of project woes being unearthed involving contractors, including the sidelining of smaller competitors by the larger companies. This, among other damning disclosures, occurred when the president met with scores of contractors currently executing projects valued at $100 million and above. President Ali did not mince words, calling some of the discoveries absolute nonsense. He highlighted, among other instances, where several companies that would have already secured large-scale contracts are also pursuing smaller contracts, such as those valued between $1 million and $5 million. As such, the president was adamant that this in itself not only affects the efficiency of the company executing the project, but also sidelines the smaller contractors.
Leaders and technical experts across CARICOM have collectively reiterated their lamentations regarding the repeated failure and wavering international financial commitments to the mitigation and adaptation strategies which the world must adopt in order to stem the effects of climate change. These were among the sentiments expressed when the 7th Caribbean Sustainable Energy Forum kicked off yesterday in seeking to address the most pressing sustainable energy challenges and opportunities facing the region. Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who in her remarks to the opening admonished, quote-unquote, "It is enough talking, we need action now." She noted too that sustainable energy is a key element of the energy transition.
And now let's tell you, the Procurement Act of 2003 clearly states that suppliers and contractors seeking government projects must substantiate their past performance with the necessary documents for consideration. However, a fly-by-night company, Statement Investment Inc., has been granted a whopping $346 million contract to build a new primary school at Bamia in Region 10, with no public records indicating any construction experience. The new chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Jermaine Figuera, said that this flaw highlights the importance and need for the Public Procurement Commission to be established. He said, even though Statement has contracted a company to supervise the construction works, it does not stray from the fact that this is a blatant disregard for the Constitution.
The work of the Director of Public Prosecution will continue despite the recent fire, which destroyed a section of the building that housed its offices. This is according to the DPP's communication officer, Liz Rahaman. Emphasizing that the fire had little to no effect on the functions of the DPP's office, Rahaman noted that work of the prosecutors engaged in the criminal assizes will continue unabated, since the documents were in the possession of the respective prosecutors when the fire scorched the building. In the meantime, Rahaman said that the DPP office has taken steps to have the documents filed for safekeeping. The fire, which started at the Guyana Police Force's Office of Professional Responsibility, Ivlery, Georgetown, over the weekend, completely gutted that building before destroying sections of the facility that accommodates the chambers of the DPP.
In other news, former chairman and opposition member of the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee, David Patterson, says he is not holding his breath on the promise to have the Public Procurement Commission reconstituted, given the lax position of the PPPC administration with regard to putting the commission back in place. The PPPC has the vital role of overseeing contract approvals and mediating contractor complaints. However, since the life of the 5-member commission ended in October of 2020, efforts to have a new commission have been lagging. Patterson expressed the view that the PPPC government may be actually opposed to having the PPC reconstituted. He posited that the PPPC has instead returned to their pre-2015 ways.
The prosecution for the fraud matter involving former accountant of the Guyana Rice Development Board, Peter Ramcharan, has asked the court for more time to sort out the case file. Ramcharan was slapped with 32 fraud charges, which amounted to $414 million. In February 2020, Ramcharan was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment by Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan after he was found guilty of omitting $145 million from the rights entity's ledger. His conviction was later appealed by his lawyer Nigel Hughes, and he also managed to secure a $2 million High Court bail. While Ramcharan is out awaiting the outcome of his appeal, he still faces 17 other fraud charges before Principal Magistrate Sherdal Isaacs Marcus in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts, which allege that he kept fraudulent accounts.
And moving on, citing the climbing cost of living and across-the-board 7% increase in public servant salary, the AFC executive member Kathy Hughes has called for a lowered income tax threshold to allow more money into the pockets of low-income earners. Hughes explained that at a time when inflation has reached 14%, a 7% increase just doesn't cut it. She went on to say that the administration has refused to meet and discuss salary increases with the various unions, as they are well aware of the workers' representatives would not accept increases less than the inflation rate. She said that they resorted to forcing the 7% down the throats of workers. But by doing this, she argued, it is the worker at the top tier that will benefit from the imposed across-the-board increase.
And now for your COVID-19 update. The Ministry of Health yesterday reported that 2 women from Region 6 who contracted COVID-19 have died. As a result of this, Guyana's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 979. According to the ministry, the latest fatalities are that of a fully vaccinated 71-year-old and an unvaccinated 93-year-old. 89 new infections were recorded, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 37,445. 9 patients admitted into the COVID-19 ICU, 69 persons in institutional isolation, 1,672 in home isolation, and 4 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 34,716 persons have recovered from the virus.
Billions here and billions there for hydro and gas to shore and grid upgrade. Yet the light is not shining upon Essequibo County, Linden, Kwakwani and Hinterland citizens. They have to depend on the candlelight coming from lesser sources, including renewables. Only uncaring leaders spend so many billions and so many citizens are left outside the vision. Who are these leaders? Just look inside the PPP. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.